Yeah. Huh? Turn the AC on, make it colder? Okay.
No. Yeah, because I was just outside. Yes, please.
Hey, just for a little bit. If people start getting hot, I'll turn it back to make it a little bit warmer again.
Oh, you turn that heat
Sailor,
on?
Sailor Chelsea.
No, making it a little bit colder.
I'm there.
There, okay, go on. All right.
Please.
Okay, if you have your questions on the board, go ahead and grab a seat. I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions really quickly.
These niggas gonna be running in front of me and
All right, so the first things first, I do want to remind you, what is a grade you get every single day in my class?
Participation.
I don't call it participation because that just implies if you're there and doing something, you get it.
I'm not talking about as I got on our first grade. I got a grade. I got a grade. Our school.
So one, right, I can't include that week's active collaboration in until the end of the week, right? So as soon as I get the whole week's active collaboration done, I'll put that in. You will also have probably a short demonstrate understanding tomorrow on what we have covered. Demonstrate understandings, and it may be at the end of class, it may end up being Monday depending on where we are, but demonstrate your understanding. So there's practice questions that you'll have, that's on the FRAIR models. Those are called check your understanding questions because those are time for you to check your understanding. The assessments that I have are the demonstrate your understanding. So we will have one of those soon. I'm going to answer what we're doing in class today with the agenda in just a minute. Are those the only two questions that we have up? Any others, Benny?
What are the other diagrams? They say crazy and love. I don't know the other one.
So you're actually going to get to the crazy and love diagram today, and I'll explain what that is. So that was a lesson that I did with my AP Stats students, so we moved very quickly in that class. But the concept that we tackled with that, y'all have to learn as well for Algebra 2 statistics. So we will be getting to that today. This is still the curious case of Joy Milne. The ones below that are different types of sampling methods. Ms. Granberry and I talked about it. We decided that for Algebra 2 statistics, you don't have to get into those bottom two. So don't sweat those two, okay? But the other ideas you need to hold on to. But don't sweat those yet, because we haven't gotten there yet. So let's get going. I gotta remember to turn this thing off. Come on now. There we go. Agenda. So I didn't check today to see who had gotten their syllabus done, but remember the syllabus assignment of just getting your parents to fill it out was due yesterday. It's not a huge grade, but it is an assignment. It's 10% off every day. It's late at this point. Guys, I need y'all to make sure you have responsibility. Get your parents to sign that. I'll send out a reminder to parents today. But please make sure that you get that syllabus signed. Today we are going to continue with the statistical questions that we ended on yesterday. Then we're going to go into what are the different types of data. And then finally, random sampling. I'm going to talk about this. So you have to understand what a statistical question is, and then you have to understand the types of data that we can collect with our statistical questions so that you know how to start analyzing studies. But then this is the priority for us when it comes to studies. So really pay attention to that today. So same things I've already shown you. All right, really quickly, as a recap, by the way, you might want to go ahead and get out your notes from Joy Milne. Okay. What did we learn out of the activity with Joy Milne yesterday?
That she wasn't guessing.
Okay, so what I want to point out is, I'm not just talking about like the study overall, I mean these quick notes. Like, what are the enduring ideas that we learned out of this activity that we need to make sure we hold on to? What were the notes we made? I'll say, Jess, you got it right there. I skipped it. Yeah. Quick notes, guys, that's the summary notes that you need to hold on to. So, Jess, what's something you wrote down there? Right. So we made an assumption, right? And we collect evidence to decide, was our assumption correct or should we reject it? And so we are trying to collect evidence for the hypothesis. This is the curious case of Joy Milne. This is the second page that had our quick notes on it. Can someone else tell me another thing that we learned out of that activity yesterday? for the last 2 days? What else did we
Restate the
learn?
question, please.
So we already talked about that we are trying to collect evidence for our hypothesis to be able to reject the assumption. What is something else we learned? We gotta start with a what?
Form our
Question.
hypothesis, analyze data, and find a solution.
Did I write that as part of the notes yesterday?
So,
Okay, let's focus on literally the things I told you I need you to learn out of this. So, hey guys, my point is just this. I get it, there are things that are valid that we're saying, but what did I tell you I needed you to learn out of this?
to think. No,
Is that something you wrote down on that sheet of
no,
paper
start with
yesterday,
the
Vinny?
question, hypothesis, collect data as evidence.
So, characteristic of interest, what? Sample and population. Guys, those were the enduring things I need you to hold on to. We're going to continue to practice with it. But when I say characteristic of interest, what do I mean by that?
Did you talk about what we wrote, or like just mean in general?
What researchers want to
Well,
know.
what you wrote should be what we mean in general, right? What researchers
Want to know.
want to know, right? Characteristic of interest, that's what researchers want to know. What is the population then?
All of the individuals.
All individuals that we want to know about, right? Finally,
The sample that we should have.
that's the individuals in the study. So guys, I didn't write that stuff on the board and say that out loud for kicks and giggles. Those are the things you got to know. Like, that is on the proficiency scale. There are check your understanding questions associated with that. You got to do those things, which I did create a solution key for the first few fair models, so I'll actually let y'all trash the ones you have up to that point and give you the ones that have answer keys on it. I'll just get to that a little bit later. So we need to come back to this. So we talked about the characteristic of interest and sample and population. That's up here. That was tied into what we already talked about. But we said that if we're going to do stuff with statistics, we got to know what a statistical question is versus a non-statistical question. And that's where we started yesterday. Right after that, today we're going to get into categorical versus quantitative. And so y'all kind of started looking at these questions, right? We labeled them A through F and then G through L. Thank you. And so what I want you to do is I want you to get, oh, y'all were in different groups yesterday.
Yep.
It's okay. What we'll do then is this. Y'all came up with some ideas in the groups you were in yesterday. I want you to confer with your new group, and I want you to come up with a conclusion sorting of these two, or these sets of questions into two groups, and I want you to identify how you made those two groups, right? So one of the groups should fit under what kind of questions? Statistical questions. And then the other group should be non-statistical, right? And so here's the thing, have I told you what those terms mean yet? No, because what am I asking you to do first? I'm asking you to think about it. Try to find a pattern, a relationship. And then we're going to have a whole class discussion afterwards to really finalize what the right answer is. But I will say this, looking around the room, a lot of y'all are putting pieces together. You may not have had all the questions in the right spot, but a lot of groups had most of the questions in the right spot from the beginning. So that means there's something intuitive there that you understand. But let's go back to our vertical surfaces. Let's sort our questions into those two groups, come up with an explanation for how they go together. We'll have a whole class discussion in a few minutes. I'm going to say 5 minutes because we've already worked on it some. So let's get up, let's go to our groups. School questions before today. Okay, so Dean has, Malia has, right? So a few of us around the room have heard statistical versus non-statistical in the past. Did that make it a little bit easier for you to figure out which was statistical and which one's non-statistical?
Yep.
Okay, just a little bit, right? So one of the things I want to point out is this. Everybody's going to bring different pieces of information to class when I ask you to engage in something. So make sure you talk with your group because maybe there's someone in the group who already has some background information that you can build on, things you should pay attention to. So a big reason why I have us working in groups like this is we can build on each other's ideas and take advantage of them. And looking around the room, I think the vast majority of us came up with a very, very, very similar definition. We're thinking that statistical questions, so looking over here in green, statistical questions have multiple answers while a non-statistical question has one answer, okay? When you think about statistics, and we talk about maybe even, so we've already done kind of some studies. Yesterday, when we looked at the curious case of Joy Milne, and you sniffed the shirts, right, sniffed the shirts, and then you guessed whether you got, that person had Parkinson's or not. Did everybody get the same response? No, different people. Some people got 3 correct. Somebody got all the way up to, a few people got all the way up to 10 correct, right? So there was variability in those responses. When we talk about statistics, I said this a little bit, and I want to emphasize this. Statistics is all about knowing how to use variability and spread to make conclusions. Statistical questions have multiple answers, or I like the wording up here because I gave them a hint with it, / I told them, statistical has a variety of responses, right? If I were to ask which musical artist or group has the most downloads on iTunes, I don't know that answer, but are there multiple responses, or is there just one group that has the most downloads?
Most.
If I ask which musical artist or group has the most downloads on iTunes for all time, there's one answer, right? There's one group. I don't know what the answer is, but there's only one group, okay? But if I ask the question, how many siblings do the students in this class have? Ivan, how many siblings you got? 3. Walter, how many you got? 3. Dean? 5. Okay? Dalton?
Like 8.
8 siblings? Hot dang. Kind of, I got you, Victoria?
Siblings.
Gotcha. Victoria? You got 2 siblings. So guys, please notice when I asked that question around the room, was there a variety or multiple responses? Multiple responses, right? So that makes that question what? Statistical, okay? So let's sort through these really quickly, okay? So we're going to come back to this in a second. Let's look at these. Which musical artist or group has the most downloads? Okay. Has the most downloads. That is what? Non-statistical. How many siblings do the students in this class have? That's statistical. Who won the 2020 NBA championship? Non-statistical. How old are your parents?
We should know that though. That's a hard one.
Yeah. So here's what I will say. So I'm going to point this out. I don't love this question. This is from mathematics. I would push back on this. What this is closer to a survey question. Okay. The reason why I say that is, so not statistical or non-statistical. It's a survey question. It would help me answer the question of how many, or what is the average age of parents for students in this class, right?
40.
The survey question though is this: how old are your parents, right? So that question is helping me answer a statistical question. So when we say survey question, it's a question I would ask somebody to answer a statistical question, but so I'm going to fit this under statistical. I disagree with the way mathematics did it, but do different people have different responses? Yes, so statistical. How many points did the football team score on Friday? Non-statistical, because that answer is 0 because they haven't played yet, but maybe in the future we could come up with that answer, right?
And when they played.
Say again?
And when they played it.
Dang, dude. You talking about like the other team or our team? I'll tell.
He's a
The other team. There he is. He's trying to tell walk it back now. Where are students in this class going to college next year? Or what trade are they going into? What kind of question would that be? That'd be statistical. Are there a variability, or is there variability in the responses? Is there variability in the responses?
What was that again?
Where are students in this class going to college or trade next year? Not everyone's going to the same place. What are the heights of the teachers at this school? Statistical. How many hours do seniors work each week? Statistical. How old is this school building? How many snow days did we have last year? Non-statistical. I have no clue what the answer is, but it is one set answer, right? There's not variability possible. And I will say that, I'm going to give a proper definition. I wouldn't even say variety, just because in statistics we use the term variability. How many students in this class ate breakfast this morning? Statistical. Different people would have different responses. How long do you wait in line for lunch each day? Statistic. All right. So, notice it's not a perfect split, and that's okay. Because it was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 and 7. Okay. There's something I wanted to bring up. Oh, here's what I want to bring up. One of the things I need you to hear clearly is it does not have to be that there is variability in the responses. Okay? It's just that there is a potential for variability in the responses. And here's what I mean by that. If I were to ask the question, do students in this class prefer snow days or bad weather days like tornadoes? There are, I mean, that's fine, but my question, but hold on a second. Is there a chance that everyone says the same thing?
No. Yes?
No.
No.
We could all say the same.
Okay, let me ask you a different, let me ask a different question. If I were to, no, I mean, it's very rare. I'm trying to think of a good question that would get us there. Would you rather have a snow day or a tornado come through Tuscaloosa?
We don't want that there.
Okay, raise your hand if you prefer a snow day.
We don't want that there.
Okay.
Everybody here.
You'd rather have a tornado tear through Tuscaloosa? Do you remember 2011?
I
You want
remember.
your stuff
I
to be
was
on
watching the YouTube video.
Okay, man, this hurts. Okay, let's just pretend. All right, listen. Let's just pretend we were all sane, rational human beings. We all say we prefer a snow day to a tornado tearing through our town. Okay. Now, let's just say everyone says snow day. Does that make the question statistical or non-statistical?
It's still
Make it
statistical because a person could say a tornado.
Okay, so be
He
careful.
said everybody answered it.
Correct. But here, and this is what I'm trying to hit at, this is what I need you to understand. It doesn't matter if everyone said the same thing. It matters if there is a chance for variability. Okay?
So basically saying like everybody. Like it don't matter if everybody said it. Like, still
It does not matter if everyone puts the same answer. It matters, is there a chance for variability in responses? Someone could pick snow day or tornado, right? But, so that makes it statistical. It's just, oh, we all picked the same answer. Does that make sense? Okay. So, by the way, if I were you, I would go and write these down really quickly. I'm going to give a final wrap up to this in a few minutes. So make sure you have a note about which ones are statistical, which ones are non-statistical that we decided as a class. And then I'm going to talk about a couple more things. Say again. I lived through the one that tore through Tuscaloosa and destroyed
That's
it.
why I want to see one. I don't want to.
Like get back in time, I was children.
I can tell you this right here, right now. If you never see a tornado like that, you're living.
I just
No, I
already
like
made
that. I
cap.
just want to see.
Dude, tornadoes destroy, and that's all they do.
I got a witness.
Like, it hurt driving around Tuscaloosa seeing how much destruction there was, and how many homes were just absolutely
Was the
demolished.
home demolished?
Mine was not, but a tree did fall on part of it.
What happened?
Was that the-
Are we gonna have opinion-based statistical questions?
I mean, you can always have opinion-based statistical questions. What do you mean by that,
Are
though?
we gonna do work about them?
Are you gonna what?
Do work about them?
Do work about those?
Like how we just did the
Yeah.
joy thing? Are we gonna have something like that where it's just people's opinions?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like make a conclusion about something.
Yeah.
So we can. So for example, I'm not saying that we necessarily will, but in statistics, what you learn how to do is, okay, do students at Hillcrest High School support taking school money to build a new football stadium, okay? do we want to survey all 1,400 people? No. But what we can learn how to do is collect data, find the proportion of people who would support using school money to build a new football stadium. And then instead, remember yesterday how we had to do a simulation? There are principles in statistics that we can use to determine, do people support it or not? Or what's the true proportion that support it? So you can do it, we just won't be able to get there much, okay? Okay, does everybody have all that noted? Okay, so here's what I want you to do quickly. So you don't have to cut it out and glue it in. You could write the questions in on your own if you want. But what I want you to do is I just want you to, in the last box of each column, write your own example of a statistical and of a non-statistical question. So each person needs to write their own, talk as a group, and come up with one of them that as a statistical question that you're going to write on the board, and one of them as a non-statistical question that you're going to write on the board. Okay? So do it on your own at your desk, come up with one statistical, one non-statistical. I can go ahead and tell you this, every year on the DYUs, those are the quiz-like things, I ask students to do this, and every year there's people who are like, I don't know what a statistical question is. And I'm like, guys, I could not have made this more clear, okay? So I need you to come up with your own. Again, we're going to finalize definitions in a minute, but write your own statistical question, your own non-statistical question based on what we just discussed. What you got, Penny?
Is DYU do it yourself?
Demonstrate your understanding. But yeah. All right. If you're still writing a question, go for it. If you're not writing, actually, let's do this. I think y'all had here. Okay, let's pause. Eyes here real quickly. I need y'all to remember what's always the priority in this class.
Thinking
And learning. Okay. So at this point, has everybody gotten their statistical and non-statistical questions up? Look around the room again. Has everybody gotten them up?
No.
Not everybody. Okay. So is that okay though?
Yes.
Hey, Jess, right here. Okay. No. Coriana, Annalise, just hold on a second. Listen. My question still stands for those who didn't hear it earlier. Not everyone has gotten their question up yet. Is that okay?
Yes.
It actually is for me. Because what has every group been doing this whole time?
Communicating, working together,
Communicating, thinking, working together, learning. Okay?
We're engaged.
So we're engaged in the learning process. So here's the thing, if you didn't get your question up, that's okay. I'm not getting on to you or anything like that, but we do have to move to the next piece. But I know that even the groups that haven't gotten their questions up, I talked with those groups, I heard you talking about these things, I know you understand a lot about it, okay? I'm going to have a whole class discussion based on some of these things in just a second that I need you to pick up, because it's the understanding how and why things work that matters the most. So really quickly, let's move into the center really quick. So I need all the groups to move into the center. Okay, so move into the center, moving, okay? So I want to look at each of the non-statistical questions really quickly, and I want y'all to assess if you think each of them are non-statistical. So how many school days did we have last year? They claim non-statistical, do we agree? Anybody want to push back on that, or are we all in agreement? All in agreement? Okay, up here our non-statistical is how many days are in a week? We all in agreement?
Yes.
Anyone want to push back? No? Okay. The next one in red over there, how many presidents have we had?
What is it?
No, we're still on all non-statistical. How many presidents have we had? Is that non-statistical?
Yes.
Okay. How old is the White House? Non-statistical? Yes? We all in agreement? Now I want to pause, I want to point this out. Looking at the responses from different students, which of these responses would give me the most clear evidence that someone really understands what it means to be non-statistical on this assessment? So, look up here at the front. What did they say with how many presidents have we had? Scoot to this side, John, and Ivan. Only one response to the question, right? How many presidents have we had? That's only one response. One of the things that students are most uncomfortable with when it comes to my assessments is I don't just want you to tell me how many days are in a week. Yeah, that's non-statistical, but it's easy sometimes to guess and get things right. what I want is clear evidence that you truly understand and that you know how to connect ideas, okay? So, will you still get some credit by coming up with a non-statistical question? Yes. But what's going to have the most evidence of understanding? I keep saying it that way because, and I'll show it to you before the first assessment, I use a rubric that actually assesses how well you understand, or at least the evidence that you give me of your understanding. It's not just right or wrong. And it's actually the student's benefit because are there sometimes when you get answers wrong but you actually understood a good bit about it? That happens to us, right? So you can earn credit by showing me evidence of understanding. So hold on one second. But that's my point. Don't just put an answer, put a reason with it. We know non-statistical because there's only one response to the question. Finally, how many players belong on the baseball field in a game, right? What's the response there?
9?
9, I think, yeah.
It's not.
If we're counting on defense, 9. Could be more if we're including base runners and things.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm talking about.
I know. So we need to be clear with our language. Okay, so again, in that case, how many responses are there? Only one possible response. Okay, statistical questions. How many students have pets in this class? Do I need to collect data? Is there a variety of responses, whether you have a pet or not? Yeah. Do you like Nike or Under Armour? Okay, I'm going to talk about that in just one second. Hey, Ivan. Okay, how many pets? Okay, so I want you to notice these two statistical questions, the one in blue here and the one in pink. How many students have pets in this class? And how many pets does a student in this class have? Are those the same question?
No.
No. What's the difference?
One is asking.
One is.
One is asking how many pets does each
One is
student have,
singular,
and one
one
is
is
asking
plural.
how many students actually have pets.
So that kind of, what would be the response if you're answering that, if you're talking about that question over there?
No.
Well, so like if I say, hey Victoria, do you have any pets? How would you respond?
Well, it's not
So,
yes or no.
well, just do you have pets? Is what, yes, okay. But if I said, how many pets do you have? You would say, you have 2. You see how there's slight differences in those responses? We're going to talk about those differences in just a second because there's 2 different types of data that we can collect. So, very similar questions, 2 different types of data. Looking around the room, I think all the other questions are statistical. So, here's what I want to wrap up on with this. So, we're almost done. Eyes and ears, focusing. Last details. Nope, that's frozen, so you can't see anything. Okay? So really quickly. Oh, I remember what I want to say. Before okay, well, we'll do it here. I'm going to have to erase this. I apologize. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you time to write down ideas in a second. I need us focused, laser focused on making sure we get this right. Who's?
Mine.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so types of questions. Non-statistical. What are non-statistical questions?
Questions that
only have one
only have one answer.
So questions that only have one answer. I'm going to go back to another detail I've said before. So have
Only one response.
only one response.
Can we get Jesslyn Truman to come to the office for a moment, please?
She's on her way.
Thank you.
Okay, so only one response possible. So do the responses have variability or not?
No.
Do the responses have variability or not?
No.
No variability, right? So no possible variability. That's important. The idea of variability is where statistics thrives. Okay, statistical questions. All right, and I should say questions here. What are statistical questions? By the way, don't forget, Brianna, I'm going to give you all time to make these notes. Just engage in this, and then I'll give you time in a second. What do we mean by statistical questions?
You gotta collect data from.
So responses. Yeah. Questions that can have variability in responses. Okay? I need y'all to hear me clearly on this because this is what we're not used to in a math class. Specifically, this will be in statistics. we're not used to learning the definition. You gotta know these definitions. If you don't learn and understand these definitions, when I ask you to identify statistical versus non-statistical and justify it, you're gonna have a hard time. If I ask you to write a non-statistical question and justify it, and you don't know these definitions, you're gonna have a hard time. So, make sure you have these details down and you study these. Now, one thing I want to point out is this. I've mentioned this earlier. There are survey questions out there, and we have to be careful. These are questions that you ask somebody to answer a statistical question. Now, there was a good, actually, back here, this is what I want you to see, right? Do you like Nike or Under Armour? This is not, like, let me say it this way. Do you like Nike or Under Armour?
Under Armour.
You like Under Armour, okay? Now, was there a chance for variability in the response?
Yes.
But I only have one data point, so there's only really, for him, only one real answer. He prefers Under Armour, right? There's not really variability in that. But this, when I see the word you, that's a survey question. So how can I rewrite this to be a statistical question? Do students, what?
Like, oh.
Prefer
Nike or Under Armour?
Nike or Under Armour? That is a statistical question. So when you have that word you in there, that's a survey question. What is the question you're actually trying to answer? Do students prefer Nike or Under Armour? That's statistical, that's survey. Again, a huge hint usually is if there's a you in there, it is a survey question. Now, that's not always the case. So, for example, if I were to now ask you, Parker, do you usually get to school on time? Or let me say this. Yeah. That's not the question I want to ask. What is the average amount of time it takes you to get to school? Ivan?
About
Okay.
about 14 minutes.
Okay, but about 14 minutes. But listen, what I want us to hear is, I said, what is the average amount of time it takes you to get to school, right? But to answer that question, I would have to look at how long it took him Monday, how long it took him Tuesday, how long it took him Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is there variability in those responses?
Yes, you're not gonna get to school on time like at the same time.
You're not going to get to the school at the same amount of time every day.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that's what I want us to recognize. It's not that you is always a survey question, right? But make sure you think through, is there a chance for a variability in multiple responses? Am I getting that data from multiple people? So be careful on survey questions. Those are the questions you directly ask somebody. We actually already defined sample and population. What do we mean by population?
Well, we want to know everybody, the whole.
All individuals.
Yeah.
So all individuals of interest. Sample. What's that? What's the sample?
Individuals in the study.
Individuals in the study. All right, almost done with this. Now, yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about this last thing. And I'm just gonna mostly give you the definition. I don't usually like to do that. But any prediction what we mean by observational study versus an experiment?
I think like observation, like looking at something.
Okay, so it's looking at
And
something.
then experiment, like you're actually doing it. Yeah.
Kind of. Anyone want to build onto that?
Can you restate the
I
question?
feel like with the Ferguson, we did an observation, like, we couldn't say that she can actually smell it. So we went to like watch videos and stuff like that. In the
Okay.
experiment, we actually did our own smelling shirts and data from or whatever you want to say.
Kind of. So I'll say this. What I was asking is, do you have an idea what we mean by observational study versus experiment? What I will say is this. The Carious case of Joy Milne, what they did was an experiment. Because the researchers gave her shirts that were worn by people with Parkinson's and shirts that were not worn by people with Parkinson's. So they were giving her what are called, yes, an experiment, but individuals are given, here's the statistical term, treatments. Individuals are given treatments, meaning they are told to do something, or something is done to them.
So observation studies, like you get a textbook, basically.
I think a better example is if I ask, do students prefer Nike or Under Armour, am I giving them treatments or am I just observing to collect data? It's closer, and really I would even say it's a survey. So yeah, a special type of observational study is called a survey. Survey is when you ask people questions to collect data. An observational study, by the way, I'll say this, an observational study, it's in the name. What are you going to do in an observational study?
Observe.
Observe, right. So in an observational study, you're going to observe to collect data. Most importantly, collect data, you will not, researchers do not give treatments. I'll give you an example that we were using in AP Stats yesterday to help observational study. So ACT class, or you take the ACT, you're all juniors, you're gonna have to take the ACT this year, right? Do you think taking a class that teaches you how the ACT works might help your ACT score go up?
Yeah, I took ACT prep last.
So you took ACT prep last year? Okay, so can we agree that taking an ACT class might cause your score to go up?
Yes.
Yes. But if I were to just ask who wants to take an ACT course and I let people take an ACT course and then I see if their score went up or not, did I tell people to take that ACT class?
No.
No.
They chose.
So it was not an experiment because I didn't give people treatments. I just observed what happened. Okay? So unless the researcher actually gives treatments, it's not an experiment. Now, if I took this class and I made a decision about this half of the class taking the ACT prep class and this half of the class not doing ACT prep, have I now applied treatments? Have I told people what to do?
Yes.
Yes. So that's an experiment. An experiment exists when researchers tell someone what to do. That's a treatment. Okay? It's an observational study if there are no treatments. Okay? Now, given all those definitions, this is a good time to write this information down. Notice you might have to go outside the box, but these are the quick notes. This is the summary of ideas that I need you to pull from this. And if you don't have this written down, are you going to be able to study those definitions later?
No.
Are you going to be able to use this to help you complete practice assignments that I know we're all going to do? No. Okay, so make sure you have this information. And don't forget, I mentioned that a survey is a special type of observational study because there were no treatments. Yes, sir. I'm signing into my AP classroom. We don't get out of here till what, 11:30, 11:35, something like that?
I think 11:30.
We got time.
Oh, you got to say that.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am. Me? Huh? Not me. Hey guys, just let me know if you need to move closer, but also don't forget, I'm chill with you moving around the room as you need. Walter, I might bring your notebook with you and you can sit in that seat. I'm chill with you doing what you need to do to move around and get the information you need to be successful. You do you to learn and to grow, and I will support you in that. Okay, so you can actually trash the ones I gave you yesterday, but here's what I want to point out. Two things. If we ever have a big idea in a unit like this, okay, if we use Mathematic, it has space for quick notes on there. But if you go to the second page in this Frere model, what is the second page all about? Non-statistical and statistical questions, right? Notice in the bottom left, there's always space for notes. So if you want more space to take notes, right there is a good place to do it, okay? The other thing I want to point out is this. What is on the back side of the questions on the Frere model? There's answers. If you are practicing, Jaden, you wait. If you're practicing getting ready for the upcoming football game and no one tells you that you're getting stuff wrong, are you going to make the same mistakes in the game? Right. So remember, for me, it's all about learning. Here's the answers to those questions right here. Do some of us probably need, slash most of us, slash all of us need a little bit more practice with statistical versus non-statistical questions? Yes. But if you're getting it wrong, that's not going to help you. All right? So the answers are on the back so you can check yourself. Remember, your bell ringer each day is to ask a question, right? Well, here are the types of questions you should be asking about. If you're getting several of these wrong, write the questions on the board that you have questions about. Now, the last thing I will point out is in the top left, it says mild. Top right, it says medium. And bottom right, it says spicy. That is showing you a level of progression and how hard the questions are going to be. So where should you probably start? Mild, right? So mild, medium, spicy questions. That's to help build you up through more and more difficult applications of these ideas. Okay? So the mild, the medium, and the spicy there. What's up? So hold on to the questions, but the Frere models you can get rid of. So guys, the Frere models from yesterday, just those you can get rid of. The questions I actually refer to in the Frere models as some of the questions that you might need to do. Okay? All right. And I also numbered the Frere models to this time around to make your life easier. So these are the old ones. So these are the old ones. Are these old too? For your whole group? Got it. And the new models I numbered in the bottom left-hand corners to make it easier to keep track of what goes where. Okay? All right. Now, does everyone have their notes down? Do I need to give me a 1, 2, or 3 if you need 1, 2, or 3 more minutes to finish notes. Okay. Parker, do you have a question?
Yes, sir.
What's up?
Are these two?
The one, yeah, the old Frere models. Yeah, trash them.
What is?
You hold on to those because that's part of the questions that I ask in the Frere models. Okay? Yes, Victoria. Say again. Go very quickly, you were asking earlier as well, right? Go very, very quickly, you're about to start on the next one. Okay. Alright. I will point out, so eyes and ears please, I will point out that this is the, if you look at the Fourier models I just gave you, that's the spicy part of the population sample and characteristic of interest. Oh no, statistical, non-statistical. The spicy says, oh, never mind. Ignore me for now. We haven't gotten to that yet. Don't worry about it. This comes up later. Alright, so here's what we're going to do with the last 30 or so minutes of class. We've talked about statistical versus non-statistical. What do we still got to talk about? Quantitative and categorical, okay? By the way, where is this coming from? That's the what? That's a proficiency scale. Remember, I'm telling you up front what I need you to learn and the vocabulary you got to have out of this unit, okay? Statistical, categorical, and quantitative. Thanks for cleaning that up, guys. Okay. It helps when you spell stuff right. Alright. So, this is very similar to statistical versus non-statistical, except I don't have the fancy sheet to hand out to you. It just says identify each of the following variables as quantitative. Some places call that numerical, so quantitative or numerical, or as a categorical variable. Okay, so we got 6 things right here. I do want you to go to vertical surfaces to answer this, so let's do this. Queen, or 4s, you can go, queens here, 4s go over to where it says 2s, and that way everyone can see these questions, okay? So I need you to be able to see these questions. Just make a prediction, sort these as you might see fit for categorical versus quantitative. Alright? Just like you did with statistical versus non-statistical. Oh, no, queens over here, the 2. So that everyone still see those questions. I want, or jacks. I should say jacks. Queens, you're at the queens. Jacks. That's all the boards over there? Never mind. Jacks, you're oh, God. We're going to figure it out. Yeah, no, we haven't done categorical. But we have done statistical versus non-statistical. By the end of class today, we will have done categorical versus quantitative. Now here's the thing. You do as much as you need to make sure you're ready for the assessment. So the sooner you catch them though, the quicker you know if you need to ask more questions. Does that make sense? I would say this is homework, except homework is typically graded. This is not. This is also in this and your proficiency scales. Those are your study guides essentially. Those are practice and study guides. So I have a digital copy of each of these for you, and when I see mastery of ideas, I drop it all and I convert these to a grade. So this will serve as a study guide and a self-assessment. Like tomorrow, we're going to have you start by identifying what you think you know how to do. So it's a self-assessment. It helps you know what you want. Now, if you haven't done these, it's hard to accurately know. But then, yes, I have a copy of this for you, and I convert those to a grade. I haven't yet. I'll wait till the first division. So I think I have a pretty good idea of who understands what, but I'm going to wait till the first division. Hey guys, if you have them sorted, make sure you come up with a rule that you think separates them. Yeah, you can erase it. We're done with that. You say quantity over quality? Let's not do that. Thank you. Thank you. So as normal, I had y'all debate, I had y'all think about things. I think, if I can tell correctly, looking around the room, every single person said number 2 was quantitative, number 3 was quantitative, numbers 1 and, what was the other one that we said is categorical? And everyone said 6 was categorical? I think everyone said 4 was categorical for the most part, which is interesting. That's not usually the case. Now, let's talk about this, and I want us to break this down. I want us engaged, right? I need us thinking through the root words here. When we say categorical, what's the root of that?
Category.
Categories, okay? When we say quantitative, what's the root word of that? Quantities. Now, I gave you this hint, quantities. I gave you this hint that quantitative is also known as what? Numerical. Now, are all numbers quantities? Or what do I mean by a quantity?
Like,
Amount of.
Amount of. What do you say? A bunch of, right? It's an amount of something. So, what do we have to do to get the amount of something? If I were to ask you the height or the weight of individuals, what are you going to have to do to get the height or the weight? You're going to have to
Experiment.
Measure.
You have to measure. Quantities are things that are measured or, any guesses? Huh? Counted. Quantities are things that are measured or counted. Quick question. Zip codes. Do I count or measure to get the number or the zip code of a person?
No.
No? What does a zip code fit you into though?
Category.
A category. So please be careful and be aware. Quantitative, not all numbers are quantitative. Quantitative means it is a quantity, right? That is something measured or counted. So considering that, right here, percentages of students in each class who master a particular skill.
Quantity?
Why do you think quantity?
Because you're measuring the percentage.
I guess I could see you measuring the percentage, but
when they fit in category, they can be like, students, like, class.
who what?
Who master.
Are there any categories associated with that idea? You either master it or you did not master it, okay? So I could say, I will say this, I understand if you're thinking about percentages maybe, and maybe if I'm looking at multiple classes, then I could consider that quantitative. But if we're talking about mastering a particular skill, that's a what?
Category.
Categorical. But there was some debate about number 6. And I'll tell you this, and this is where you have to be careful. The student's grade in a class could be quantitative or it could be categorical. Give me a way that a grade could be categorical. An A, B, C, or D, or F, right? Categorical. So if we're talking about letter grades, that is categorical. How could it be quantitative?
Like, one.
Okay, so we could talk about someone having an 87, a 93, a 55. No one's getting a 55 in this class though, so I don't know why I wrote that number. But those are what?
Grades. All grades.
Quantity.
Those are quantities. Those are measured things, right? Okay. Now let me ask you this. If I were to talk about the students' grades in this class and ask about the people who made 95 to 100, 90 to 94, and 85 to 89, would those be categories or would that be quantitative?
Quantitative.
Wait,
That's
it's
category.
like groups because
Because
It is now groups, so it goes back to being categories. You have to be careful. Are we talking about the response fitting into a category? So even though we're using numbers, we're using quantities here, I am fitting that quantity inside of a category. And so you have to be careful and you have to think about it. Is it going to sort someone into a category, or is that response a true measured or counted quantity, right? So is it fitting into a category, or is it measured or counted? All right. I think I have, can you hand me that? Excuse me. Don't hand it to me though, I got this. So yeah, we're going to get to this in a second. You do this for me, grab a seat. I'm going to write these definitions on the board. Get out the categorical versus quantitative Frere model, right? The blank side. categorical versus quantitative for error model, the blank side, and where should you probably write some notes? On the notes section, right? So, when we talk about quantitative, we need to make sure we understand quantitative. When we talk about categorical, we need to talk about categories. Maybe make some extra notes about these important ideas about telling the difference. You need to know how the definitions and how to identify categorical versus quantitative. Okay, so get out that FAIR model that says categorical. Let's do a whole bunch of this. Can you do enough of this? Now it's in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you have to which one first. 4, 5, 6. So that's how many that leaves one. Remember, blank side, that's the, this is where you take notes, where you have practice problems.